Ladies and gentlemen, the future is here, and honestly, I'm not sure that we're ready for it. Reliable sources have discovered that Samsung is currently planning on developing a mobile device that is a screen that is nearly transparent. And we're going to tell you all about it right here on I.O., but first, make sure you tap that like button because it really helps us out. Now let's dive into the details of this phone from the future. Back in January, a patent was applied for that wouldn't surface until August. Inside of the patent details showed the complicated steps in technology that would be required to create a transparent phone. For example, each pixel on the phone's display would need to allow light to pass through it, which would then allow the screen to be transparent. These patents were first spotted by the eagle-eyed crew at the Dutch tech blog called Let's Go Digital, although the actual use of the phone has been called into question many times. For years, screen privacy has been of the utmost concern for most smartphone users, and to cope with that, certain technology was created to thwart strangers from reading your text messages. It essentially is just a screen cover that only allows you to see what's on the screen when you're looking directly at it. Although with a transparent screen, this is going to be a creeper's dream. The very idea of a transparent phone seems like science fiction, but Samsung wouldn't have filed these patents with the US Patent Office and World Intellectual Property Organization if they didn't believe that they could do it. This is really the first step to a more augmented reality version of our own phones. Even with no back on the phone, we still require that piece of glass to show us a display. The next logical step from here would be some sort of hologram or view through VR glasses phone, which would mean no phones at all, essentially. That's the real transparent phone in my opinion. I still have a ton of burning questions about this phone though. For example, where does the camera go? Wouldn't it look really weird with this camera piece just stuck into the glass? And if you're going for an entirely transparent phone, how do you make an opaque camera? Perhaps the upside is simply the advancing of technology. Not every new piece of tech is going to be flawless from the start. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Samsung had released their new foldable screens. Even though they all began to crack because people didn't read the instructions properly, doesn't mean that they shouldn't be applauded for their efforts. Apple is essentially just recreating their older phones but making you pay for the same accessories that you used to get for free. Samsung, on the other hand, is constantly trying to innovate their technology because they can funnel those patents into a number of other products that they offer. For example, if this transparent screen doesn't work initially for smartphones, we could see this technology being applied to other things like our television or computer monitors. Usually OLED displays is better for clarity and provides a lower source of power consumption. However, let's focus back on the phone concept specifically. They still face the challenge of finding a new way to house the battery for the phone, as well as all of the other components required, while simultaneously attempting the transparent display. Although they do have plenty of failed attempts to learn from. Back in 2009, LG released their GD900 that featured a transparent keyboard. Sony Ericsson followed them up with the Xperia Pureness, which had a transparent display but was absolutely terrible. Then in 2013, Taiwanese firm Polytron Technologies released a transparent phone, but the SD card and ribbon cables were all still visible. In the past, Samsung has proven their ability to make OLED displays transparent. They mainly used it for signage, but when space is limited for hardware, the technology gets more complicated. Ultimately, they are either going to have to find a way to make this hardware transparent, or possibly find technology that's smaller and just does the same job. Now, don't expect to be picking up one of these phones by Christmas. The patent was just made public in August, and most of the time they rarely develop into mainstream devices. Although it is still very exciting to think about how humans are constantly pushing the perceived limitations of technology. It's almost getting indistinguishable from magic at this point. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "Doctors Bring Frozen Hiker Back to Life." Galaxy Ocean says, imagine being able to say I died once. I can't even imagine, but that's a big flex. Java Dog says, this could be beneficial for researching trying to revive people from cryo chambers. Indeed. I just hope they bring Walt Disney back at some point. Well, maybe not. Knights to the Dank Table says, this is the real life Captain America. That's about as close as it gets. Matty D says, these are the kinds of stories y'all used to do on here a lot. I miss these amazing stories. Love y'all. Matty, we love you too. I hope I didn't mess up your last name, and I'm hoping that we can do more stories just like this one whenever we see them. But for now, my name has been Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy. But first, make sure you tap that like button, because that's the computer glitching. I'm a robot. Back in January, a patent was applied for that wouldn't surface until August. Okay. Back in January, a patent would have... One more time. I still have a lot of burning questions about this phone though. I'm like running out of... Do that again. I was trying to power through it, but what's the point?